Okay, another subsystem that we'd like to talk about that is really well thought out and more importantly is very extensive, very comprehensive is the system of protectors in the Klim Adventure Rally. In simple terms, this has more coverage, more area of coverage than just about any other, in fact, than any other adventure touring garment that we've seen. It starts with a new type of D3o armor, which I'll grab right here. And it's called D3o Zergo armor. And I want to show you something. This is the old D3o Shoulder Protector. And it was very good. It worked well. This is the new D3o Shoulder Protector. I wanted you to get a look at the size of this. This is much larger. Much more coverage. More coverage is a good thing. You know, in simple statistical terms, the more you cover yourself in padding and in abrasion-resistant materials, the lower your chances of an accident. Now, the other thing about the Zergo armor is that it is much thicker. It's a new compound, but it's also much thicker. It lays well in the garment. It fits really well. It's got much more thickness and some more absorbing material. But I also want to continue on and show you the difference in size carries through to some others. The elbow is a little bit larger. And in fact, the knee protector, you know, the knee protector, this was the old one. It was pretty small, and they've reshaped that and added a little bit of internal coverage. You look at the side profile of that. That's really good. This is much more more substantial. That's a really good thing. But there's more to it than that. What the Adventure Rally has is it has this Dow Corning material, this extra material in 2 layers, in the chest and also on the thighs. And this is a full mesh silicone material, and it is it's kind of a no-brainer that garments have protection in the frontal area. You know, just about every jacket out there has a back protector, but very few consider the protection of your sternum and your heart, and this one does. That's a very good thing. It has a D3o Viper back protector, will drop in a shot there. That's pretty traditional. But the bottom line is that the Adventure Rally has a lot more coverage than both the previous version and really than just about any other ADV suit. One more thing that we'll show you too, there's a little pour-on, which is a soft polyurethane foam material, a pour-on pad in the tailbone area of the pant. So the system of protection is very extensive, and it actually relates and works in conjunction with the harness. The harness helps hold all of this in place. That's another area where Klim has really stepped up the game in the industry. Okay, the next system to talk about is the ventilation system. Now, Klim, we feel at least, Klim delineates their price points and their product levels by the amount and placement of vents. And the Adventure Rally is their top of the line, and so it has their most sophisticated and extensive system of ventilation. There are, I got the math wrong a minute ago, there are 12 vents in this suit. There are 8 in the jacket and 4 in the pant. And the location of the vents is very well thought out. First of all, there is this small but very effective angled vent in the lower arm, and that catches a lot of air. There is also a bicep vent. This is a great location, and that catches a good amount of air. There are 2 chest vents here. They're fairly effective, a little bit less so if you're riding behind a larger fairing, a bike with a larger fairing, but they still are in a pretty good location for venting. On the pant, there are these very large vents on the thigh. I'll open this up, and this is just great. This flows a ton of air, and in fact you can see underneath this Dow Corning silicone pad material underneath, which is vented, and so that allows airflow. So that's the front. Now on the rear of the jacket, let me spin this around here. On the rear of the jacket, you'll see that there are 2 large exhaust vents on the side right here, and then there is also a nice large exhaust vent on the rear of the pant. And they open up quite a bit, and they allow a nice through airflow. So what this does is It gives you the maximum amount of cooling, lots and lots of airflow, but doesn't overcool you. It doesn't dehydrate you. That's really important. You know, in some cases, if you're riding in a full mesh jacket or if you have too much airflow, it can actually pull moisture out of the body. And Klim is very sophisticated about moisture management, heat management, thermal management, and they have made sure in this that you get good cooling without overcooling. And so that keeps you much, much more comfortable, and the jacket is versatile, so it works in lots of different temperatures. Another extension of the ventilation system is, and this is again how these subsystems work together, because you have the harness, you can actually zip the front of the jacket down. You can remove the collar for one thing, you can actually zip the front of the jacket down, and because the zipper is not what holds the garment closed and holds all the armor in place, it's actually the harness system underneath. Because the harness system does that work for you, you can zip the front of the jacket down, and it maintains the integrity of the protection for impact. So that's another way that these systems work together to keep you safe and to keep you cool. Okay, let's talk about fit and sizing. The first thing, the most important thing about the fit of the Adventure Rally is that it is completely different than the predecessor. So any comments you hear about how this fit in the past do not relate to this jacket. Once again, the previous jacket was more of an off-road cut. It was big, it was baggy, it had room for armor underneath, and a little bit sloppy. That increased the ability of the jacket to kind of move around and for the armor to be out of place. Not so with this one. This is a much more traditional ADV cut. It is more fitted in the body than the predecessor, and pretty typical, pretty standard, and then it has you know, a shaped shoulder but a little bit more room in the shoulders. Now what we've noticed so far in the fit of this is that it has what we call an athletic cut. It's definitely not big and baggy in the torso, in fact quite the opposite. This is almost like an athletic suit where you get an 8-inch drop from the shoulders to the chest. The shoulders on this are pretty typical, but the body is a little bit slim. Now, we're still working that out because some of that sensation, some of our opinion for that is definitely sourced from the fact that the fabric is fairly stiff because the jacket is new. And we're working from memory from an experience we had back at the BMW Rally in Salem, Oregon in July of 2013, where they had some prototypes of the Adventure Rally there, and Bomber Hopper put them on, and another person put on one of the protos that they had there that had been moved around a little bit more. And as these garments soften up, basically any fabric, as it softens up, it tends to fit better. This is pretty stiff now. It's going to soften up new. But the bottom line is this. This is more fitted than the predecessor, the previous Adventure Rally. It's a little bit of an athletic cut, and so you have to pay attention to sizing and make sure that you have the proper relation to your shoulder width and your torso. Speaking more to the fit, there's lots of ways of customizing the fit, of adjusting it. You know, it's got a good system of regulation. There are nice waist adjustment straps here. They have a lot of travel. You can actually cinch them down quite a bit. There are 2 adjustment straps on the arm, and these not only control the size of the circumference of the arm, but they make sure that the armor and the Superfabric, this protective Superfabric, are always in the right location when you need them should you come off the motorcycle. Speaking to the pants, we'll drop in a detail shot here. There are regulation straps on the side of the waist on the pant, and they have a lot of travel, so you can get those cinched up quite a bit. You know, talking about the fit of the pants, this is a little bit more traditional, a little bit more typical. And when you see here in this shot that we're cutting in, they really lay very nicely on the wearer. The paneling on them is pretty simple. They have a nice shape, a good amount of curve to them, both in the waist and in the knees, and the pants lay really well. You know, Klim has done something simple but very effective on the bottom closure. The legs of the pants on the Adventure Rally, they don't just cinch around the cuff, they cinch up about the the lower 8 or 10 inches, and that allows you to close them very snugly around most of your calf. That means if the inseam is a little bit long or a little bit short, the pants are held very snugly around your boot, and so you don't suffer any consequences of that. So anyway, once again, let's hit this. It's a different cut than the predecessor, a little bit of of an athletic cut, lots of regulation. Now, speaking to the fit of this, you know, our tester for the size large is about 175 to 180 pounds. He's 5'11", and this large fits him properly. Bomber Hopper is typically a medium in most climb gear, and he's 165, very fit, and 5'9", and the medium looks like it's going to fit him just about right. He's got one on order, and we're going to do a field test on that. So the sizing on it is pretty true, but you just have to pay attention to the cut.